Hi, and welcome to a special edition of Michigan Matters. We're in the home stretch of a red-hot primary season, which is why we're talking with gubernatorial candidates John James, Perry Johnson, and Jocelyn Benson on today's show. Then the roundtable is here to weigh in on that race and others up for grabs in the August 4th primary. There's lots to talk about. Let's get started.
From CBS Detroit, this is Michigan Matters with Carol Kane. Michigan Matters is brought to you in part by Cure Auto Insurance.
And we're pleased to welcome John James, the congressman from Michigan's 10th District, who is seeking your vote in the Republican primary for governor on August 4th. It's great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me on.
There's certainly, this has to be the most watched governor's race in the entire country right now. And we want to talk about some issues, but I have to ask you first and foremost, Donald Trump endorsed you in the primary, which seems to be pivotal. Immediately, Eric Nesbitt dropped out within a matter of hours, and Mike Cox just a few days ago. How important was Donald Trump's endorsement? And do you think you'd be in this position right now without it?
The president's endorsement is an honor. The president's endorsed a number of times. I think this is the fifth time because he loves Michigan and he wants the best person to help make Michigan great again. The president is working to make America great again, and he needs a partner to help make Michigan great again. Someone who's focused on the things that will make your life better, like fixing our education system, fixing our economy, making the state more affordable. The president is supporting our campaign as I supported his because he knows that I'm the best choice for Michigan, and I'm excited to earn your support as well.
Mike Cox dropped out just a few days ago, and as he dropped out, he gave his endorsement to you. I assume he called you. What did he tell you? What did you tell him?
Mike and Laura have been friends for quite some time. And, we were both trying out for the same position, and we both fought hard. But at the end of the day, Mike Cox loves the state of Michigan. We are friends, and we're committed to beating the Democrats and getting our state back on track. And again, I thank Mike and Laura for helping me get my start in politics and also for coming alongside to make sure we can make Michigan great again and more prosperous for our children as well.
The race in the Republican primary now comes down to two, with you and businessman Perry Johnson. What's the biggest difference between the two of you and how you would lead the state?
Well, the biggest difference is I have experience where it matters the most. Before becoming commander-in-chief of the National Guard and leading the state of that's massive and diverse, you should have experience leading people in tough backgrounds and environments. As a combat veteran myself, deployed to Operation Iraqi Freedom, I had to bring Americans together to accomplish tough missions, and that's what Michigan needs right now. Dispensing with the politics and focusing on the people. And so while other people are attacking me, I'm going to be attacking the issues. While they're focusing on me, I'm going to be focusing on you. Things that are going to be increasing affordability, like lowering your energy costs, improving education, lowering your health costs, lowering your taxes, things that are tangible to make life better in the state of Michigan.
While the only poll that really matters takes place on Election Day, it would be stunning at this point to ignore all the polls which show Jocelyn Benson as the presumptive Democratic nominee for governor coming up here. What's the biggest difference between you and her as far as your vision for the state? Just real quickly.
Yeah, common sense versus crazy. We believe in common sense. We believe in focusing on literacy in schools, focusing on phonics, focusing on academics and not activism. We believe in less government, not more, and allowing people to chart their own course. We believe in local control, not dictating from Lansing. We believe in enforcing the laws and making sure that we don't have sanctuary cities and we protect our citizens. We believe in giving choice and transparency and making sure that we can cut fraud, waste, and abuse so your tax dollars aren't abused. This is just the beginning. What they're talking about is open borders. What they're talking about is sympathizing with terrorists. What they're talking about is taking your hard-earned money to funding a government that will exert more control over your life. What they're talking about is preserving an education system that is 44th in the nation in literacy, 45th total, and having an economy that's continuing to crater under Democrat leadership. Michigan is tired of the status quo. We are hungry for change, and I'm excited to lead the way and serve the people.
Reports are that President Trump is coming to Michigan Monday for a campaign rally with you in Oakland County. Is that true? And what will having him in the state mean to things?
President Trump loves the state of Michigan. He's been talking a lot about how important Michigan is. Michigan is the center of the universe in 2026. President Trump understands how important it is to get out and vote. And so if you haven't already, please make sure you know that the primary elections on August 4th. Go to johnjamesmi.com if you'd like to learn more about how to vote, participate. And also, the general elections on November 3rd. Our republic is on the line. Socialism is on the march. And President Trump understands how vital it is for Republicans once again to stand up for our republic, to hold our nation together and free men from bondage and things like tyranny, socialism that do not work.
Also on Monday, January or July 27th, the Gordie Howe Bridge is opening up. Will you or he be visiting it on Monday?
Well, that's up to our Canadian partners. Our Canadian friends are partners in this issue, and we need to make sure that we have a mutually beneficial arrangement. We are excited to work closely together, but it can't be one-sided, and Americans cannot bear the brunt of our relationship. We're looking for a reciprocal, mutually beneficial relationship. I think that's in Canada's best interest as well. And when we come to an agreement, we're excited to open the bridge and deepen and continue our 100 years long prosperous relationship.
John James, as I'm doing with all the candidates today on the show, I'm going to give you 30 seconds or less to look in the camera and tell folks why they should consider voting for you.
Well, I'm running to make Michigan the best place in the state to live, work, raise a family, and build a business. Our people live through plant closings and forgotten farms and broken roads. We've been lied to, and we need somebody who's actually delivered before in the toughest of situations and circumstances, in war after 9/11, in business creating jobs after the Great Recession, and right now delivering for the people, bringing resources and hope back. I'm excited for the opportunity to submit to the Lord and serve each of you, all 10 million of us, to accomplish the mission of restoring the American dream and making Michigan great again. Thank you so much.
John James, thank you so much for being with us. We'll certainly be watching this race all the way to the finish line in November. Appreciate you being here.
So much. God bless. Bye-bye.
And keep it here. We're back with more Michigan Matters and more candidates after this. Welcome back to Michigan Matters. We're now joined by businessman Perry Johnson, who is hoping to win your vote on August 4th in the Republican primary for governor. Thank you so much for taking time to join us.
Well, thank you, Carol. Delighted to be here.
Well, I'm glad you're here, too. So we are in the home stretch of this Republican primary for governor, and it's now just down to you and John James. My first question, what's the biggest difference between the two of you and how you would lead the state?
Well, there are two major differences. One, I've spent my entire life outside of the political arena. I'm truly an outsider. And I've spent my life bringing quality and efficiency to companies and organizations. I've done this with the Navy, DOD, and over 60,000 companies. I want to take that skill set and bring quality and efficiency to the state of Michigan, because my goal is very simple. I am going to slim the government down, lean the government, and I'm going to lean the government with no one leaning on me, so that we can eliminate the state income tax, reform the property tax, and get $4,747 to every typical family in the state of Michigan every year.
Mm-hmm. So you have supported some of Donald Trump's policies, no doubt. Why do you think he endorsed John James over the rest of the Republican field, which until just a few weeks ago included Eric Nesbitt and Mike Cox, who just dropped out days ago? Why did he endorse John James?
Well, people have to understand how it works. He'll have these advisors giving him advice. Some of these advisors are very connected with the political world, and they've been connected with John James's team and people, and they'll give him advice. That was a meeting that took place very quickly. We have, I think, 18 endorsements that came out of a 15-minute meeting. But more than that, you have to also look at the fact that John James is a congressman. They do need his vote, and we have a very, very slim majority in the House.
We know affordability is a huge concern of voters. As governor, how would you ease the situation and quickly help the financial bottom line of Michiganders?
Well, that's exactly my skill set. And that's
what one thing? Give me just one example.
Well, I would start with my mega audit, Michigan Efficiency Government Audit, because we have to identify areas where we can get big savings and big returns. But we are going to go and do that audit first before we leap into anything. Let's take a look at what happened. We have $1.8 billion that we allocated because we were going to try to create jobs in the MEDC. We did a study on the studies.
But my question to you, not to cut you off, is that Ohio, Illinois, California, other states are putting forth big incentives to bring businesses in. So Michigan is coming up with far less than what it's offering here, right?
Bottom line is, every single state in the union that has eliminated the income tax ignited the state. And you know that happened in Tennessee. Tennessee had the same situation as Michigan, a dropping population year after year, and they suddenly eliminate the income tax, and it booms.
Yeah. So let's talk, you're a business person, that's your background, that you've made your money, you're a successful businessman. If you eliminate the state's income tax, how operate the state fiscally in a prudent way when that's a huge amount of...
Wait a minute. Let's get, I can't fly a helicopter, but the one thing I can do is bring efficiency to organizations. I've done it with the Navy, DOD, and I've done it with over 60,000 companies. What we do really is use my techniques to go in there and lean the government. When we do that, we have the savings. It's very important to understand that the budget is determined by Congress, but the civilian population are working year after year, and they're the same group. I lean that budget. With a stroke of the pen, I can suspend any of three taxes: the income tax, the sales tax, or the gas tax.
Data centers, which some say is a huge economic development tool, others say it hurts the economy and people's pocketbooks, prices are going to rise, environmental concerns. As governor, your quick view on data center projects.
I was just at a data center yesterday, a disaster. They may be ruining many of our communities. What we have to recognize is we have sound waves that are emanating from these centers that actually damage babies. We know that for a fact. We have no idea the true carcinogenic impact of these data centers. We also know that there are no OSHA requirements, which is why I called for a moratorium of all data centers. It was ridiculous that we incentivized. In fact, in Oakland, in the debate, I mentioned that we have the perfect environment. Why would we incentivize people to build data centers when we have cool climate and we have the most coastline? No, we have 70 data centers right now. That's plenty.
All right, so here we are. We're winding down. I wish we had more time to talk more about all different issues because there's so many in this race, but we're winding it down here. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to look into the camera and make your pitch about why people should vote for you on August 4th.
Well, I'm a guy that spent his entire life bringing quality and efficiency to organizations and to companies. And I may not be able to drive a bus, fly a helicopter, but that's one skill set that I have. And when I bring quality and efficiency to our state, we'll be able to eliminate the state income tax, reform the property tax, and return $4,747 to every typical family in the state of Michigan.
There we go. Perry Johnson, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. We're going to be keeping a close eye on this race as the rest of the nation watches it as too. Again, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And keep it right here. We're back with more Michigan Matters right after this. Hold on a second. And welcome back to Michigan Matters. We're now joined by, according to whichever poll you happen to see, it seems like the presumptive nominee for the Democratic nominee of the governor's race coming up on August 4th. That would be Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson. Great to see you.
Thanks for having me. Great to see you too.
Well, there's so much to talk about. I know, let's go back to the beginning here. When people run for statewide office, they're often stunned and shocked at just how diverse and how big this state is. This is your third time running for elective office statewide, your first time as governor. And the issues in the Secretary of State race are obviously different than governor. But you've traveled the state now. What's the experience been like, and what's the number one issue you're hearing from people as you've traveled around the state?
Well, thanks again for having me. I think it's been an incredible journey over the last year and a half traveling the state. I have been serving in statewide office now for nearly 8 years and having offices in every county, visiting them consistently over that near decade. I've learned how both diverse and also similar we all are here in Michigan. Incredible diversity, geographic, demographic, all the rest. But a lot of the same struggles and challenges at top of mind is the rising cost of living of just about everything. I hear heartbreaking stories about families trying to make ends meet, moms taking on extra jobs just to pay for childcare. That's the number one thing I hear about, particularly the rising cost of healthcare and the consistent feeling that no one's listening, that no one's doing anything about it.
You have John James and Perry Johnson facing each other. I know you're not taking anything for granted, but tell me how your vision for our state differs from whichever one of them prevails.
Well, I believe the job of the next governor is to be ready to work with anyone to improve the cost of living and create jobs in our state. We're 39th in the nation in per capita income, and costs are rising. That is untenable, an unsustainable situation for Michigan. I know as a mom as well that we can be the best place in the nation, and indeed I want us to be, to create a family, to prosper, to call home, but we're not there yet. And the key difference I think that this campaign will come down to is, who do you work for? I have worked for the people of Michigan. I've worked to ensure we're streamlining how government works in those Secretary of State offices around the state that used to be the butt of jokes of a bureaucracy that doesn't work. Now it's a poster child for government efficiency in the Department of State. We've also expanded democracy, had back-to-back the highest turnout elections, taking our election system from being ranked 31st in the nation to number 2 for safety and secure elections. I've shown that I can work with anyone to actually get things done, to drive down costs, to save people time, to save people money, and make their lives easier. And I'm on the side of the people, and I think you'll see other candidates working for their highest bidder, a lobbyist, Donald Trump. But I'll stand up to anyone instead who gets in the way of what's best for the people of Michigan.
Let's continue on. By any objective measure, Governor Whitmer has accomplished much during her terms, but I think even she would agree the one thing that needs a lot of work is education. Michigan's fallen to 44th in the country amongst states. Even Mississippi is doing better than Michigan right now. What's one thing you can do as governor to help change Michigan's trajectory?
Well, I've released a comprehensive education plan to ensure our kids are career or college ready on day one when they graduate. And the most important thing we need to do, frankly, is have a governor with a statewide vision for how to ensure every one of our 800 school districts in this state are providing that quality education. Not just making sure kids can read by 3rd grade, but making sure they're ready to for any job they want to do when they graduate. That means improving teacher salaries, smaller class sizes, ensuring we have we have wraparound services for our kids, for our students. It does mean doing away with our one-size-fits-all funding model that has not worked, and instead creating a weighted, equitable funding model that other states have to better meet the unique needs of every school district.
Data centers, some people say it's economic development, could help the economy. Others say it is going to cause issues. Energy prices go up. Water, just real quickly, 30 seconds or less on data centers. Where do you stand?
The heart of our plan for data centers is guardrails. While we welcome well-paying jobs that any corporation brings, we cannot have that happen at the extent of our environment and our natural resources. So we want to make sure data centers are not driving up costs of energy, are not using or abusing our water system, and need a transparent and accountable way of ensuring they have the support of the community they want to be in, and a community benefits agreement as well if they're going to operate. And people can see our full data center plan at my website, jocelynbenson.com.
Question on your day job. Donald Trump was zero proof, and countless court rulings, including his own judges that he's appointed, cast doubt. He is casting doubt on the election and is talking about putting in regulators to come in here, federal, to look over this. Your thoughts about having federal people in to watch over what it is that's taking place in Michigan?
Well, I think it's clear that states run elections under our legal system, not the federal government, not the president. We welcome observers of all backgrounds and perspectives to come in and see just how secure, safe, and accurate our elections are. We do draw the line at intimidation or disruption of the processes, and we will be there to ensure we're protecting voters from any efforts to disrupt our elections. But of course, transparency is our friend.
And you have 30 seconds or less. Look at the camera and tell folks why they should vote for you.
Well, I'm running for governor because the job of the next leader of this state is to make sure government is working for you, saving you time, saving you money, making your life easier, and also being willing and ready to work with anyone to get that done, but also ready to stand up to anyone, no matter how wealthy or powerful, who threatens our safety, our rights, and our freedoms. This is personal to me because I'm a mom of a 10-year-old little boy. In 10 years, he's going to be deciding what he does with his life. I want every kid in this state and all of our loved ones to know that Michigan is the best place in the nation to call home, and I'm going to work as governor to make sure that's the case.
Jocelyn Benson, thank you so much for joining us. We'll certainly be watching this race. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And keep it right here. We're back with more Michigan Matters right after this. And welcome back as we're now joined by Republican strategist and former chair of the Michigan Republican Party, Susie Avery, and Brian White, Deputy Mayor of the City of Detroit. Great to see you guys.
Good to be here.
Well, we just heard from the gubernatorial candidates, and let's start with the Democratic primary for governor. It would be a gigantic upset if Jocelyn Benson was not the presumptive nominee. So let's move to the Republican side where there seems to be much more going on. And Susie, let me start with you. Donald Trump comes to town supposedly tomorrow to cast his shadow over all the Republican races coming up. And the John James race would appear, based on Trump's amazing primary poll across the country, to favor James. From your perspective, your take on that race?
I think Trump coming in will definitely energize the base. It always has in the past, and I think it will this time too.
Does it seal it for John James?
I think it's going to have a major effect with John James. I would think right now I would say absolutely yes. This is before I've seen what he's going to say on Monday, but I think that is going to be a game changer.
Okay, Brian, from your perspective, you being a card-carrying member of the Democratic Party, with Jocelyn Benson, who would be the tougher opponent for her in the general election, Perry Johnson or John James?
Yeah, I think definitely leaning towards John James will be the tougher opponent. I think,
Why?
primaries are the battle of the fringes in my mind.
Right.
And then when it comes to the general elections, the battle
Why
for
would
the
John
middle.
James be tougher?
He has the support of the president. I think he's an establishment type candidate. He's a sitting congressman. He'll have the institutional support. So, different parties across the state, whether it's the county parties or, the state party, will be behind John James, I believe. So
let's talk about another race that has the eyes of the nation virtually on it in the U.S. Is it's going to be talking about the two parties and where they are. On the Republican side, Mike Rogers is unopposed.
Mike Rogers.
There we go. You're smiling on this conversation here. Now, Haley Stevens and Abdul El-Sayed, it's a battle for the soul of the Democratic Party here. The mainstream Democrat versus a progressive. Brian, you've been involved with politics for years. You're part of the party. You have your take on that, given that we're a purple state.
Yeah, this is going to be the litmus test, I think, nationally.
How do you see that?
I don't believe that we are in the midst of a cultural shift in the Democratic Party. I think, again, this might be like a fringe movement like the Tea Party.
Right.
Susie and I were talking with the Republican Party, but this will tell the tale. If this race goes to Abdul, then Democrats got to, look at maybe this is a movement versus just, a
And your personal thought is, you're looking at that?
Exactly. I think, I think it's just a moment in time, but time will see.
Well, we shall see here. Okay, Susie, Haley Stevens' camp is running ads saying that she's the candidate who can beat, Mike Rogers in this. And in fact, the Republicans are hoping that Abdul El-Sayed wins for this very reason. Is that true?
I think there's some truth to that. I think, but we were talking before. This is kind of an interesting time to see who's got the excited voters come out to vote. They have to be either excited or mad about something.
Yeah.
And the problem with the absentees is they've already gone out, and so now we've had candidates that have dropped out, but people have already voted for them on their absentees. Now you can spoil your ballot, but you have to go to
How many people this, how many people actually go through the process of spoiling their ballot? Go to their local
probably maybe 2%.
Okay, well, I know there's so much more to say about all this here, but the cameras are rolling. Susie, real quickly, prediction on the Republican side and the governor, who do you give it to?
I give it to John James.
Okay, and on the Democratic side of the Senate, who do you give it to?
It's interesting. We have a bet in the office, and
What's the bet?
originally I was on the Haley side. There's a gentleman who is supporting, or not supporting, but bet that Abdul will win. So I think Haley will have it. I think she has the institutional support. Susie and I were talking. There's not a lot of excitement. Usually I get calls, who should I support? Right. Haven't got any of those calls, so that lets me know that people aren't really paying.
Do you think the average person is paying attention to these races?
No,
absolutely not.
No, but there's a lot of national talk, like you said, a lot of talk between people like us
who are watching this, but the average constituent who are out summer vacation, schools getting set to start, kids go back.
They just want to know when gas prices are coming down and when groceries will be cheap.
That's exactly
There you go.
right.
Much more to say,
right.
but we are out of time. Thank you guys so much for being here. Really appreciate it. And thanks you at home for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you next Sunday for a little bit more
Michigan
Michigan Matters.